Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Matthew Schering and I'm happy to be presenting digitally at SEAS this year. I'm a member of the specialized faculty in the English department at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and last summer I defended my dissertation where I worked to build a hybrid of labor and learning contracts that I called student-centric learning contracts. In developing these contracts, I wanted to take the best aspects of labor and learning contracts to make our writing courses more equitable and accessible for diverse student populations. Last year at SEAS, I presented on the positive responses I received from students from 2 IRB studies on this form of contract writing. While my initial round of research showed promise for student-centric learning contracts, there were some student responses that mentioned being confused on how these contracts worked early in the semester. While a strong majority of student comments were positive, these instances of initial confusion gave me pause, and I started to rethink some of my pedagogical approaches. Integrating contracts of any kind into a course can be a difficult process. With this in mind, my presentation today will talk about what student-centric learning contracts are and how I've used course documents to better support these contracts. To begin, I first want to briefly describe what student-centric learning contracts are. Student-centric learning contracts are a hybrid of labor and learning contracts designed with learning as a key instructional outcome. In these contracts, students articulate their own learning goals, outline how they will learn, discuss key aspects of the rhetorical situation, and achieve labor goals. Student-centric learning contracts are graded holistically, and instructors will consider not only the final products, but drafts, memos, reflective documents, and other in-class activities to demonstrate learning. The first part of this contract is the labor portion. My interest in writing assessment was initially inspired by the work of Asao Inoue and is a labor-based model. For Inoue, labor offers instructors a more equitable way to assess students. Instead of rewarding students for being academically literate or for recreating master models, Inoue rewards students for their intellectual labor and the amount of work they are willing to put into completing a project. As Inoue notes, the more labor you do, the better your grade in the course will be. By using a labor-based approach, Inoue hopes to better account for the diverse skills and abilities students bring into our courses by grading work, not final products. While I see a lot of value in assessing students based on the labor they complete, overemphasizing labor can also be problematic. For example, Medina and Walker cite a cautionary tale on labor. While using contracts in their course, many students felt their class was focused too heavily on labor, to the point where excessive work was detrimental to the overall quality of the course. While it is important to account for all the labor that goes into a project, focusing too heavily on labor makes writing seem more like a chore students must endure to earn a grade, rather than an exciting opportunity to learn and develop valuable skills. In student-centric learning contracts, the labor portion utilizes simplistic metrics to measure student labor. For example, one project I teach frequently with first-year composition students is an academic memoir. In this project, I have students compose a narrative where they discuss their history with education and their hopes for our writing course. In this prompt, the labor portion has students complete the following tasks: submit a draft of your project, complete a progress report memo, attend and participate in peer review, write 750 to 1,000 words, and submit your work in APA MLA style. The tasks outlined here are relatively simple, but also represent the work students will organically do throughout a unit. This shows students that the labor they are doing throughout a unit has value to their final grades. Additionally, I do not include the labor portion on the student-centric learning contract itself. Rather, I have this information listed on the individual assignment sheets. This is done to show that learning and labor are both valuable, but are not always tied together. In addition to labor goals, students also earn credit by reaching learning goals. Focus on learning is necessary as students come into our classes with diverse experiences, expectations, and needs in terms of learning. Using a singular and flexible rubric often fails to account for the various ways students learn. So in student-centric learning contracts, students and instructors work collaboratively to outline what a student wants to learn and how they will learn it. Students will create their contract criteria by writing out their individual learning goals for a project. The learning goals are short, 3 to 5 sentences long, and include clear, definable, achievable goals related to the unit projects. For these learning goals, they may look something like, in the past I've struggled with documentation style. For this project, I want to pay close attention to how to format citations and reference entries. To do so, I will review materials posted to our LMS. Or, I want to work on introductions. I feel my introductions, especially my thesis statements, aren't very good. I will review the lessons on introductions and use it to build my introduction. Having short, simple goals like this is ideal, as it makes it easier for students and instructors to comment on these goals. To help students understand student-centric learning contracts, there is a need for increased work on building learning goals. Building learning goals is a complex task and is important for instructors to consider how their course is structured to help students understand and build learning goals. To help alleviate initial confusion with student-centric learning contracts and building learning goals, student-centric learning contract courses feature an emphasis on rhetorical genre studies. Using rhetorical genre studies to teach composition is one of the cornerstones of Illinois State University's composition pedagogy. When discussing genre studies, ISUWriting.com defines the practice as the activities involved in looking very closely at a particular genre, multiple samples and variations, and investigating all the different features that might be present or features that are absent. Genre analysis also involves looking underneath the surface features of visual design, sentence level qualities, and style and tone to uncover how genres can be subject to and can enforce cultural, social, commercial, and political agendas. Put another way, RGS asks students to look at existing examples and analyzing the key genre conventions present in these examples. Rhetorical genre studies is a helpful tool as it tasks students with evaluating existing examples of the kinds of projects they are working on. Rhetorical genre studies can be a useful addition to any writing course, as this pedagogical approach can help students build confidence as they learn from the affordances, constraints, and key genre conventions related to the projects they are working on. While rhetorical genre studies can help students learn about the conventions of a genre, it can also help them learn how to innovate and break the rules as well. For example, Kurdiak notes that scholars in rhetorical genre studies took a particular interest in how writers modify written genres across social spaces, sometimes called repurposing, recontextualization, or bricolage. In studying genres in this way, scholars examine how writers combine their previous genre experiences and present rhetorical challenges and imagine rhetorical features. Rhetorical genre studies can be a useful pedagogical tool in a general sense, but it also has significant utility to help students generate learning goals in student-centric learning contract courses and help them think about how they can potentially break genre conventions in a useful way. By integrating rhetorical genre studies at multiple points throughout a unit, I have multiple goals. First, I want students to become accustomed to the genres we are working with in major units. Regardless of what kind of assignment is being used, it's important that students feel comfortable and confident that they can build their own projects. In addition to building students' confidence, these rhetorical genre studies sessions can also be useful tools to help students build learning goals. By examining, critiquing, and deconstructing the essence of a genre, students will get a stronger idea of what skills they need to improve and how these skills can help them create what they want to ultimately produce. As contract grading is still somewhat rare, many of my students were experiencing contract grading for the first time. So as collecting data for my dissertation, I noticed some troubling trends. In an anonymous survey conducted at the end of the semester, multiple students noted they had difficulties with student-centric learning contracts early in the course. One student noted the contract was confusing because I was unfamiliar with contract grading. I did not fully understand what was expected of me early in the semester. Similarly, another student said they thought they were confused at first, but once they saw how it was done, it was simple to understand. These responses made a lot of sense, and after reviewing my personal journal entries, I realized I spent a lot of class time discussing the theoretical value of contracts, but I needed to include more time discussing how contracts function. One way to help students understand course assessment practices is to build a more effective syllabus that helps support course pedagogical and assessment goals. Syllabi are critical for effective instruction in any class, as they offer students an immediate manifestation of our goals and expectations for a course. When building syllabi, it can be difficult to make decisions on what to include and what to cut. While we ideally want these documents to accurately reflect and represent what our course is and what students can expect, it is impossible to condense the essence of a 16-week course material into a single readable document. We must make difficult decisions on what to include, how much detail to include, and what to omit entirely. While there is limited scholarship available on syllabus design, there are some academics doing important work on these documents. Prime example is Natasha Jones's work on syllabus design. In these articles, Jones researched how these documents function, and importantly, how syllabi are viewed from a student's perspective. Thinking about syllabi as a tool for students is important, as these documents should be used to help them navigate our courses. While there are many factors that go into building a syllabus, Jones found that students overwhelmingly support a more simplistic design, as when students were asked about elements that make a syllabus difficult to use, 79 students, about 77%, noted that long paragraphs, more words, made a syllabus hard to use. This reveals that students find walls of text discouraging and can possibly obscure information, bury content in a syllabus. This is in line with previous research that found that documents that are not too text-heavy are appreciated. The findings highlight why a simplistic approach may be best. An overwhelming majority of students noted that excessive blocks of text hindered the readability, usability, and utility of syllabi. With a syllabus, it can be tempting to include pages and pages worth of information, and I've done this many times in the past, especially for student-centric learning contract courses. While that may seem like a sound strategy to ensure students understand every aspect, every course policy and goal in great detail, it's important to remember that while syllabi are important course documents, they're not the only class materials that will be used to teach a course. Our syllabi will be accompanied with teaching, in person or online, assignment sheets, supplemental readings, class discussion, group work, and various other course materials and activities. There's no reason for syllabus to be designed as a teaching tome. Based on student feedback and the research of Jones, I went to work to condense and improve my syllabus. One piece of advice Jones gives to improve syllabi is to make use of bullet points. Jones's research found that students noted that the use of bulleted lists in a course syllabus might make the documents easier to use. Remember, nearly all the students surveyed indicated that bulleted lists were a consideration. Scholars and researchers in document design acknowledge that bulleted lists make text more skimmable and can break up large chunks of text. Bulleted lists make sense, especially for my sections on grading, attendance, and classroom policies. I want my syllabus to provide students with a quick reference of key points and policies. In my original syllabus, nearly all material was presented in paragraph form. While this approach may seem like a natural way to present information, it can also make it more difficult for students to quickly find important information. For example, my grading policy section of my original student-centric learning contract syllabus is as follows. As this course will utilize contract grading, grading will be dependent on your own work and your own goals. You will articulate what you want to learn for each project, and I will use this material to assess your work. This course is designed to be practical and pragmatic, so do take your contract seriously. All assignments will be submitted via RegiNet, which would be the case pandemic or not. If you submit your assignment late, even by second, you will lose 10% of the points you have earned for that assignment and another 10% for every 12 hours your assignment is late thereafter. Work that is over 72 hours late will not be graded and will not be eligible for points. While this is only 2 paragraphs, the material presented here is a bit convoluted and it's hard to quickly identify important information on late work or submissions. I've revised this to utilize a hybrid of short paragraphs and bulleted lists. My grading policy section now reads, all assignments will be submitted via Canvas. In addition to posting your assignments to Canvas, submitting your work on time is critical for your success in this course. While there are firm due dates for every assignment, I know that life happens, often at inopportune moments, so will do my best to work with you to find solutions to any potential issues that may occur. Throughout the semester, you will submit all work to Course LMS, submit your work on time, contact me ASAP if you need an extension. Understand late work will incur a letter grade penalty for every day an assignment is late. Understand work over 3 days late will earn a 0. These slight edits have made my section of the syllabus more user-friendly. Students can now read a brief abstract of the section and then quickly reference important course policies in the list that follows. I have adapted this abstract bullet point approach throughout my syllabus to make the document easier to navigate and to avoid making students dig through lengthy paragraphs to find relevant information. While what we include in a syllabus is important, we must also consider what kind of language we are using to present this information to students. Again, our syllabus is often a student's introduction to our course, and these documents help set their expectations for a semester. If our syllabi are lifeless, mechanical, or tedious, how can we realistically expect students to engage with course material? To understand the importance of language and syllabi, Nussbaum, Swindle, and Plemons found that participants reported feeling more positive about instructors based on syllabus sections that 1. Express enthusiasm for course content, and after reading this line I took a long pause to consider how language functioned in my own syllabi. With the importance of language in mind, I revisited my initial student-centric learning contract syllabus and noticed some language issues, and specifically a pronounced lack of enthusiasm. This is important as Nussbaum et al. Note that students reacted positively when a syllabus showed passion for course content, but this sense of passion was drastically missing from my own course materials. Throughout my initial syllabus, I noticed my phrasing was always very cold, very matter-of-fact, and read like a template. For example, while discussing student-centric learning contracts, my syllabus stated, finally, this course will utilize student-centric learning contracts. See the end of the syllabus for the contract. Each major project will have a rubric outlining the labor requirements for each grade, page count, sources, etc. In addition to the labor, you will also write out a list of goals that you want to learn and what you wish to accomplish for said project. While this section does cover the main themes of student-centric learning contracts, I feel the phrasing I used made these documents seem more tedious and complex as opposed to innovative and exciting. The line, "what you wish to accomplish for said project," sounds incredibly cold, uninviting, apathetic, and just generally off-putting. The same stodgy tone can be found in my course description as well, which stated, "This course is designed with a very pragmatic scope aimed at providing you with the tools to build an effective portfolio for your future. Throughout the semester, you will not be writing for abstract exigencies, but rather situations you see yourself encountering in the future. I want this course to help you sharpen your skills you need for your success while also providing you with real world situations that will be helpful outside of the college setting." Again, the writing here seems quite lifeless, and even though I wanted this description to inspire and invigorate students, I very much have the doubt that it had the desired effect. Well, these are just two examples. My syllabus is riddled with sections that read like a soulless terms of service document. How could I reasonably expect students to be excited for the semester while my syllabus was so lifeless? I feel that student-centric learning contracts have potential to make courses more engaging and enjoyable experience for students, and I wanted students to feel excited about my course from the start of the semester. By projecting both passion, both in my syllabus and teaching, I hope to improve engagement throughout my courses. For example, my revised syllabus now has the following section on assessment practices. In this course, we will make use of student-centric learning contracts. See the end of the syllabus for more details. Instead of having you conform to an arbitrary rubric, this innovative approach to assessment is designed to help you improve the writing and researching skills that are important to you and your future. Throughout this semester, we will work together using this collaborative form of assessment to ensure this class is helpful to you as possible. In this course, there will be 100 total points available. The grades in the semester are divided up as follows. In this section, I tried to be more positive, more lively about the potential of these contracts. Additionally, I added some visuals to help students quickly reference this important part of the syllabus. While there is still much work to be done to make the language more inviting and engaging, I feel this new version has a much better tone. Contract rating comes with many benefits. Having used student-centric learning contracts for multiple semesters, I've seen increased engagement from my students. Having the chance to articulate their own learning goals, to think about what skills are important to them, helps them make strong connections between the work we are doing in our course and their future. While these contracts bring a lot of potential, they also need to be thoroughly scaffolded in our writing courses. Sal Inouye puts this best when he states that thinking through one's assessment comes before, or at least simultaneously, thinking through one's own pedagogy and curriculum. Regardless of the assessment method we use, it's important to remember that the pedagogy and assessment are always tied together, and everything we do in a course, from designing syllabi to assignment sheets to daily lessons, should all work together to support our assessment and pedagogical goals. Thank you for listening to my talk. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at @MattSchering or via email at mattschering@gmail.com. I hope you enjoy the rest of C's and the other excellent sessions on writing assessment.